Hey folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and I'm going to take some of my older Jesse James beads, they're from last summer, the Let's Be Mermaids, and I have some remaining beads in my box that I haven't finished using. And I also have this little swirl bead in here, right here, that I thought might be really cute if we put all this stuff together and make an anklet. So let's see what all we've got left. And if we can, can size it up to being big enough for an anklet. And if not, we can always add some chain. Chain is perfect for an anklet. So let's see what we've got here. I've been digging all the loose little beads out of my kit here. We only have one of this one, so I'm not going to use it. It's a pity we only have one. I'm not going to use these big guys because, well, they're too big. I don't want something that chunky on my ankle. And these are drops as opposed to... So anyway, we've dug out all of these. I've got this ammonite bead, or swirl bead, whatever you want to call it. I've got a couple of turtles out of my stash. And we've got this mermaid tail. So I'm thinking that we'll put the mermaid tail on some chain to come down, and we'll hang him down at the outside of our ankle. And then we'll start putting various other beads around. See if we have enough. If we don't, we'll split it up with some chain. I have plenty of chain around. And... that will make it nice. And as well as I also have, of course, some we'll put some spacers in, which will help as well. I definitely don't think this is going to be long enough. We need to have some spacers in here. But even so, I don't think this is going to be as long as I need it to be for a nice length of anklet. So let's pull this out here. And we will put this on our ruler, and we'll see where we end up at. So we only are getting to a little over 6, and we need close to 9 for an anklet. So we obviously definitely need spacers, and maybe I need to see if I can find us some more beads. Actually, we still have some purple in our Tokyo Nights here, and some black, so maybe we will use that. Okay, so I've got my Tokyo Nights bead pack out, and they do have some blues in here, and since we've got a blue here, I'm thinking we may want to take a couple of these little blue beads and put them amongst these, because we're all getting too one colorish, so to speak, here. And I think the blue will help with that. So and next I'm thinking they have these little purple ones here, and maybe even these green miracle beads might be fun to add a little something in here. So let's sort of find a spot to spread some of these out, put these in. Maybe since this is purple already, it would be better with this little green one here. instead of this purple one. And then we do need to find a place for these purple ones, though. I'm thinking maybe right here. They're little, but that's fine. Adds quite a bit more color there, and I like that. So let's roll these up some till we can get this other one in here. So it's going to go right after this one. So now we're at 8 inches. And we have our well tail. We have to get that hooked up and put on some chain. And we need to get some spacers. And, well, actually, there's a ton of these little tiny crystal spacers in here. Definitely put those on these little guys. Still need to roll this up because our turtle is not facing quite right. So what we need to do is just find some spacers, put some spacers in here. I'm not sure I'm going to put spacers between every bead like I normally do. Let's get all these little tiny crystal spacers out of here. The silver ones anyway. And we'll decide where we want to stick those at. And I think that we're going to not put any other spacers in. So I think that's going to work like that. And because it's a anklet, we're going to need to have a lobster claw and a jump ring, and that should complete all the rest of the space we needed. I don't think there's, nope, those are gold, so those won't work. I was debating putting a dangle, but everything is gold, so I don't think that would dangle, so I don't think we'll bother. I think I saw some more silver. Yes, I did. They're bigger than those, so they'll go around something bigger. Maybe right here at the where these come together. Like that. And then the chain, of course, will have to come down here. So let's put these bead packs away. We don't need them anymore, I don't think. And we'll get some wire out, and we will start stringing this up. So let's put this off. And one of the first things we want to do is see if a jump ring will go through our little fishy tail. Okay, so I've got a jump ring and I've got it open, and it will not. It says no, no going around here. This is an oval one. I'm going to see if I can find a, actually, if I can find what I did with it. I had some, there we go. Let's see if this will work. These are some little decorative ones, and they will open and close, and I'm not sure they'll be big enough, but being round they may go through, whereas the oval one wouldn't. We'll see. Okay, the opening is over here. No, they won't go all the way through it all, not even close. So I will have to get us a piece of wire to string this little fishy tail up so that we can make her into our little dangle from our ankle bone. So, but we will still need to get some wire, which I'm thinking we will use, well, if I can find any, amethyst on it, since most of this stuff is purple. There we go. It's my big spool of Softflex medium amethyst. What I'm going to do is I'm going to string this until I get, and I'm going to just do it on the spool, until I get to the where I would put the chain on, and then I'm going to cut a little piece of chain. I'm just going to put the chain on without the tail at this time. So we have to decide how we wanted this set up. We had it sort of set up, but I pulled it apart. So this is our middle. Then we had our turtles like so. And I think there they are. We were going to put these guys here. And, you know, we're probably going to want a little ball spacer for, is that my smallest one? Between the little turtle's legs, so he doesn't leave a big gap. Not that it makes any difference, because we're using Softflex, and let's face it, Softflex is really pretty, and it doesn't mind if we leave a gap. But here's a couple of teeny ball spacers that we will put in there. Come on, just one more. There we go. So those will go on either side of our little turtle here. And then, oh, let's go with this guy. Let's put that in there, this in here with this guy. This one. I think the green one. So I think we'll do them like that. And we'll just space these where we want them, wherever. I think maybe the other side of this guy. And I was thinking the green, but maybe it'd be better at the blue so it's spaced out a little bit. You know what? I just know something I'm going to do. I have these little turtles that I have used on other anklets. Since I've got those turtles on, let's put a couple more turtles in here as spacers. this here and here. And then we had this. Oh, there you are. Where did you go? Oh, on the other side of green. And then the blue. Purple. Okay, so where we want to put this little turtle, I'm thinking, where's the other green? Oh, it's over here. Okay. Maybe between the green and this guy. And between the purple and this guy. Okay. Oop. Now I usually put a speed stopper on this ends here, so that's what we're going to do. I'll go down the line here. If this ends up being too long, we will take off this last bead here. In fact, I'm thinking that I will get another spacer or two to go here, because everything else I think has a spacer besides here and here. So we can get a couple of little spacers out, and I think I have a few that will work. Just put those right there for right now. We can put that other one on there later. It doesn't have to go on now. And if perchance we end up not needing that bottom back bead, that's fine. We'll take it off. Now this is where we need to put on our little piece of chain. We're going to swing it from here to here. So I am going to get just enough to go like that. We don't want it to drag down extra long, because otherwise it's going to hit the ground. So about right here looks good. So we'll cut that off and put the one side on. Now you could put it closer to the ammonite, but if you're going to do that, you don't want that you don't want this crystal spacer in here, because it will hold your wire in a weird way, because it's got that gap in it. So now we'll put the other side of the wire on here. and keep going down the other side. So now that we've got this all strung up, we'll put the bead stopper on, and then we need to see how long this is. Now it's saying it's almost 10. Now unless it wraps and takes up a lot of the space with the beads, this is way too long. We need to get it down to like 8.5 because we need to put the lobster claw on, which means some of these beads are going to come off for sure. Because an anklet is about 9. Let's see the anklet spot. Bring it around. And we are, even with it wrapping, I think we're going to be more than 9. Not a whole heck of a lot more, though. Maybe we can get away with just taking the last 2 beads off. We'll have to see. Cut the wire now that we've got those off. And we will take off this bead on this side. Go to the other side and take off that bead and the spacer bead. Now we'll see how long they are. I like it's colorful. Okay, so here we are at the 9 again. And up and around. And we need about 1/2 inch. And it looks like we might just have that 1/2 inch because we just need to get our lobster claw on and our ring for holding on to, and then we need to make our bottom down here for this guy. So this was our Let's Be Mermaid beads, so we'll dump those in there. And we're going to get some crimp tubes and our lobster claw, and we're going to see how big we end up being then. So our lobster claw is right here. We'll get it out. Check to make sure it's working properly. And it's working good, so that's good. Get a jump ring to hold it on. And a jump ring for it to hold on to. Just one. Then we need a couple of crimp tubes. Oops, not 4, just 2. So now we're going to hook these things all on, and then we will put our fishtail on, or mermaid. So I've got some jump rings, some crimp tubes, and my lobster claw. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to crimp this one side with the bigger jump ring. Now I always jump ring my my lobster claws on, and that's because, oops, I didn't go through both through the crimp tube, and that's because your lobster claw can break, And if your lobster claw breaks, if you have it on a jump ring, you can simply have somebody, or do it yourself, change out your lobster claw. However, if you don't have it on a jump ring, then you're going to have to restring your whole anklet. Now this one I'm not paying attention to where the beads are. It doesn't matter as long as I get it up here and crimped good close to here, because I can just slide them right up the wire, and we're done. On the other hand, of course, on the other side, we're going to want to get a lot tighter than that. But here we go. Clip this baby off. And now we'll roll all of our beads over that way. And then we're going to do this side. So we just put the crimp tube on and our jump ring. We can hook on our lobster claw in just a minute. We don't have to do it right now. Go through our beads here. And then I think through the turtle. And that's a pretty good spot to stop. Now we'll take hold of our wire and then take hold of our jump ring and pull. By holding onto the jump ring, it gives you some place to hold while it slides your beads down. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to do one more thing before I stick on our lobster claw, and that's bring our sizer back down and see how we're doing here. Now see, we're right there at the 9. It's going to be about 9 inches, maybe even 9 1/4 when we get this finished. So now that we've got this all pulled down and stuff, let's get our crimping pliers and crimp this last crimp. And once we have that done, of course, we'll cut off our extra wire here. And we can put on our lobster claw. Okay. Stop that. Now we will just hook this on here and we'll see how big it ended up actually being. Oh, it's almost 9 1/2. That's probably a little bigger than I would have liked it to be, but it's not bad. Actually, it is 9 1/2, but the only way to make that smaller right now and without rewiring it is to change our jump rings. We could put a tiny jump ring here and this smaller jump ring over here. This will hold to this jump ring, but it's not as easy to get on and off. But we could make it a tiny bit smaller that way. And that actually will lessen it by about, well, it's almost the size of this, so almost 1/4 inch. So let's do that. Take this one off. We'll take this jump ring off. We're going to open our one over here and take our lobster claw off of here. And since it doesn't really matter which side the lobster claw is on, unless you have personal preference, I don't. So what I'm going to do is leave this on this side and get our small one for the other side. Open it up. Oops, I'm gonna have to pick that up. And then we'll put it through the loop over here and through our lobster claw. You know, if the lobster claw was much bigger, it wouldn't fit on there. So then we will open our lobster claw back up, put it on this smaller jump ring, and let's see how big it ended up being now. See, it didn't take it down a lot, but it did take it down about a quarter of an inch. So instead of at 9.5 now, it's now at 9.25. So I like that length better. So we will leave it there. So now we have to get our little fishy tail on. So we need to get a little tiny piece of wire. I actually probably even have some here. So I tend to leave scraps beside me. We'll I put the wire through, I bent it, then put the wire through the tail, and then I'm bending the other side up. Now we're going to bend this down so it makes a sort of triangle here. And then we'll bend this wire up and this wire down like so. Then we're going to hold this right here. Wrap. Oop, careful, Rose. This. Now I'm only going to wrap it a couple of times because I'm going to come from the top and wrap it again after we make our circular top piece so it will hook onto our chain. So just like so. And you'll want to straighten this out because inevitably it's a little bit crooked to your bead, or as this case may be, your little tail. I don't like the way that looks. Okay. Now I'm going to bend it over again. I want the loop to go this way. It's going to slide around the chain. Then I'm going to get my bail making pliers. And I'm going to bring it around, bring it down, come over here, bring her around, and leave a bit of a gap because we're going to slide it onto the chain. Now we're not going through a link because I don't want it to be stationary. I want it to be able to move around. So we'll just now put the wires back together and then grab our other pliers, wrap again. And there we go. All done. So, isn't that pretty? Nice little mermaid tail hanging down from our anklet there. Our turtles, ammonite. Well, it's a fake ammonite, but still. Pretty anklet. Hope you enjoyed making this with me. I had a lot of fun making it. I think it turned out really pretty and colorful and really cute. But anyway, there it is. We had all kinds of odds and ends to make this pretty, mainly from Jessie James beads. One bunch was Let's Be Mermaids, and then we used some beads from Tokyo Nights, as well as a few little things out of my stash, namely my turtles. I hope you like this. It was, I thought it was fun to make, and I think it turned out really cute. So this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and I hope you enjoyed this. Bye-bye.